All right, let's talk about podcasting. Reaching the world through an RSS feed and audio. All right, what is your message? What is your story? What is your hit podcast show going to be about? How are you going to get there? How are you going to get the listeners? We're going to talk about all that and more in this episode. All right, so podcasting, getting on the mic, being the man, the woman who has a message, who interviews other people, who networks, who tells stories. There's a lot of growth potential in podcasting, and I want you to know that. Right now is the best time on earth to start a podcast. Just go to evergreentactics.com. You're going to see that I have a course. The course is pay what you want, pay whatever you want, and you'll be able to get access to my full podcasting course where I show you how to grow an audience, how to rank every single episode, how to monetize and make a lot of money podcasting. Let's talk about money real quick. When you start out, you got to build it gradually, all right? But once you get to about 1,000 listeners an episode, you can charge people about $60 for that episode, right? $60, whatever. But once you get to about 10,000 downloads every episode, that's $600. You make $2,400 every single week if you do a weekly. What if you did a podcast episode every day? And that's not just to mention the authority, the ability to conversate, the incredible networking that you can do in the lifestyle of a podcaster. These are all great reasons why you should click your brain on and start a podcast. Go to evergreentactics.com right now to start your podcast with my course. Pay what you want. I'm not trying to rip you off. I'm just trying to help people. Don't know why I got to shove it down your throat to help you. All right. But when you're starting with a podcast, these are all the things you need. This is podcasting at its most basic. You need a microphone. You need some headphones. You need editing and recording software. And you need an RSS feed. RSS feed is just a really simple syndication network. A syndication network is a way to share things, MP3s, pictures, everything on the internet, okay? And the free ones that you want to go with are Anchor, okay, for if you want to pay a little bit, it's only $7. I use Libsyn. I have another video on my channel that shows you exactly how to set up a Libsyn account that's going to blow your freaking mind, because with Libsyn, as soon as you share a new episode, it goes everywhere, all over the internet. All to every place that you can share a podcast is where it goes. Okay, and then there's also Buzzsprout and Podbean. Those are the ones I would recommend. There's more out there. But if you set up with these guys, you're going to be on iTunes, Google, Spotify, iHeartRadio, all the other freaking ones. There's a billion of them now. So there's Stitcher and stuff like that. And it's really simple to set up. It's not complicated. If you've ever opened up an email account or a Facebook page or something like that, you can set up your podcast to be ready to publish on all these platforms, okay? So the fact is that when you're recording, it's not the hard part of the podcast. The recording and getting it out there isn't that hard, okay? Getting listeners is a little bit harder. Monetizing is a little bit harder. And creating a hit, successful podcast is a little bit harder. So let's talk about your hit show, because that's how it all starts. The truth is, to have a hit show, news and noteworthy doesn't matter. Your downloads don't really matter. All that matters is new subscribers. iTunes will rank you in their top charts if you can get new subscribers. That's why when you launch a podcast, you get a huge boost in all the charts and everybody sees you, and then you seem to peter off even though your downloads are still going up. It's because all iTunes cares about is new subscribers in the last 24 hours. Okay? So what does that mean for you? Nothing. Let's talk about your podcast, okay? Podcast has to be for a desired audience. You have to figure out who is going to be listening to your podcast first. It all starts with the research. All right? The best ways to do research are to just go to iTunes, go to podcast, and you know that little search bar? Just start typing in words and see what happens in the search bar. Why is that important? That's important because the recommended searches in the iTunes search bar, you can create podcasts for and rank, and you also know that people are searching for them because they're in the recommended searches from iTunes. iTunes is literally telling you what episodes you should make on what subject. So if you want to do a romance, you type in romance. It's going to say romance tips, romance 101, romance show, romance podcast. And then you make an episode for all those, and you know that thousands and thousands of people are going to be listening to that if you title and you optimize your podcast right, because iTunes is telling you it. If the damn search engine is telling you that these are what people are searching for, then there's obviously listeners. Why does this matter? It matters because if you try right now to rank a blog article, it's hard. It takes months. If you try right now to rank a YouTube video, it's hard. It takes months. If you're trying right now to get people to opt into your email account, it's hard. There's lots of people doing it. Podcasting is hungry for content, hungry for new fucking topics. It is not completely saturated like all the other marketers. And you can record it in your house, in your closet, in your car, on the road, on a walk, anywhere you want. And then people can listen to it on their car, on a walk, in the closet, in their freaking house, on their little speakers, Echo. We're everywhere with the podcast. Podcasting is huge right now. It is the best time to start a podcast. I cannot tell you enough. All right. So let's just do a little more research, though. We have to think about a conversation that we can have with our audience for as long as possible. Just because every episode we're going to keep coming back with a new topic, new ideas, new things. Maybe it's a sports podcast, so you talk about the same sports teams and you talk about those things. Maybe it's a true crime podcast and you got to write down the stories and you got to go through everything that it takes to tell you about the crazy crime that podcasters are committing by making crappy episodes. Just kidding. Okay, but you really do want to narrow it down. Create a customer avatar. My customer avatar is Joe. Joe works in a big corporation and he listens to podcasts in the gym and on the drive, and he loves the idea of becoming an entrepreneur someday, but he hasn't taken the leap. So he needs my podcast to fulfill his dreams and take him to that next level where he can be the person he really wants to be, but first he wants to learn everything he can, okay? Stuff like that. And then there's, like, the core things you want to think about is who's listening, why are they listening, why are you making a podcast, why are they listening to your podcast? So answer those questions. You've done pretty good research, okay? Now you really want to think about a show, okay? Like, just talking with your friends isn't a show. It's not a reason for people to watch, all right? You go to Netflix, there's tons of crap, but the good shows have a good plot, right? They have a good story. They hook you in the first little bit. They're dramatic. They're exciting. They make you feel something. So that's the real truth. What is your podcast going to make people feel? Are they going to be happy when they listen? Are they going to be educational? Get the big old brow going on? Are they going to be scared because it's a whatever show you're doing? So you got to think about that. Okay, and then you want to think about the words that you're going to use for that emotion. It might help. All right, after you have your idea for your hit show, okay, you're ready to record. Here's just a few tips before you record. Drink a lot of water. Don't drink milk. Milk will screw you up. No milk. Apple cider vinegar. Great to cleanse your body out. Make it so that your voice sounds really good. Another pro tip is bone broth. Bone broth really cleans you out, as well as non-caffeinated teas. Non-caffeinated teas will allow you to, it'll clean you out so that you sound professional and you're ready to go. Now, before each episode, you probably should outline it. How do we outline a podcast? Intro. What is in your intro? First part of your intro. Tell people what your show is about on the big scale, right? Next, tell people what the episode they're about to listen to is about. Next, tell people what it is that they're going to learn and why it's so exciting in this episode, okay? That's just the intro. And then we break it down into 3 sections, beginning, middle, end, or ABC, whatever you want. In the A, the beginning, you hook your audience in and you tell them the scene, the plot, the idea, the theory, the quote, whatever it is. And B, right, in the middle, you give them the heavy content, all right? You go, boom, here is the grass-fed beef and sweet potatoes, steak and potatoes. Here is the big message, the big idea, okay? And then in the end, you want to wrap it all up, okay? Why do we do things in 3s? Because that's how our brains work, man. 1, 2, 3, stop, go, stop, whatever. Go, wait, stop, So we do things in 3s. It's how our brains work. If you have a nice formula, it just clicks better. I'm not telling you have to do it. I'm just telling you this is a good idea for outlining. When you're outlining, what do you do in the outline? You just make bullet points so that you don't sound like a robot reading a script. Bullet point, bullet point, bullet point, all in A. Bullet point, blah, blah, blah. Okay? And then at the end is your outro. Your outro. of your podcast is going to wrap it all up and go over what you just learned, how they can get in contact, the call to action that you want them to have, and then you want to leave them with a tease for the next episode. That is the outline for your podcast, okay? You got your research, you got your outline. Now it's time to record. Record. Ah, the time has come. Do it. You hop in there, you focus, you get it done, you say the words. Now you're done. What do you do after you record? You edit. Editing is so important. I don't care if you're doing it on your phone. You can edit it on those little audio things on the apps. There's tons of apps that you can use. GarageBand works just fine. iMovie works too if you're going to do it. What you can do on your phone is you can record a video, and then you can edit the video, and then you can just export the audio, and then you can edit the audio too. But the cool stuff about editing is this. The difference between a pile of paint and a finished Picasso is editing. The difference between a bunch of random instruments and the Beatles, editing. The difference between regular basketball players and Michael Jordan, it is a discipline. It's what makes it sound so crisp. So how do you edit? You edit your vocals in the EQ. Okay, whatever freaking thing you're using, you want to use compressors and EQ. Or you can just go to evergreentactics.com and check out my podcast services. I will professionally edit your audio for you. So you don't have to do it. All you have to do is record, okay? Pay me a couple of bucks, very reasonable price. So edit your podcast. Now that it's edited, what do? You share it you tell your mom, your dad, your friends, your sisters, your enemies, your people that make your sandwiches, everybody. Anybody that comes in a 3-foot radius of you, you tell them about your podcast, all right? You smash it all over Facebook, Instagram, all the places, okay? And the importance of this is to get people subscribe. Now let's talk about how to make some freaking money. So in my course, I teach you how to rank an episode so that every time you come up with a new episode, you're going to rank top of iTunes because it's really easy. It's not really easy, but if you know how to do it by buying my course for whatever you want to pay, it's going to be pretty freaking easy for you. What does this do? It makes sure every episode you put out, thousands of people listen. Well, I can't say thousands. People will listen to it, okay? Just depending on the words. There are $1 million words on iTunes that people are not using and do not have a podcast topic made yet. That you, the world is waiting to hear you. This power. So you need to focus on the keywords. You need to focus on you're making really good content, because if you buy my course, it's going to show you how it's not about just putting out a bunch of stuff and no one's going to hear it. It's about lots of people are going to hear it, so I better put out my best stuff. You edit and you share it all over social media, and if you buy my course and you rank it in iTunes, it's going to blow up, all right? And this is now how you're going to make money.